Good evening, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. It's 6:30 p.m. and we are having a regularly scheduled meeting of the Marquette Township Board. If you would join us in the pledge, we'd appreciate it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. Randy, roll call, please.
Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Winslow.
Present.
Trustee Everson.
Here.
Trustee Marks.
Person.
Treasurer Johnson.
Here.
Clerk Rattari is here, and Supervisor Durant.
Here.
Staff present is Manager Kangas, Attorney Roger Zappa, and our Superintendent of Public Works, Lenny Bodinas, is on via Zoom. And the committee member present is Paul Marin, is from the Township, or the Library, or the Township Advisory Committee.
For the library.
For the library, correct.
Excellent.
The TAC.
Thank you. Let's start with any public comment. If anybody wants to do any public comment, that's not you. That takes off 2 and 3. So tonight's consent agenda consists of approval of regular meeting minutes of January 18th, 2022, and special meeting minutes of January 24th. We have bills payable in the amount of $219,966.55. No committee or other reports. Correspondence tonight, Marquette County Solid Waste Management Authority hazard waste schedule for 2022 and their fee schedule starting today. And we have draft minutes from January 19th. I also included the University of Michigan close-up report that talks about the political tone in large and small communities. Was pretty interesting. I just need, unless somebody wants to pull something out, I need approval.
I move
to approve.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
And the only comment I'll make is I forgot to put the closed session minutes of January 18th, so I will put those on the next agenda,
Okay.
along with the closed session minutes of this meeting. So we'll approve both of those next meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And I just need approval of the remainder of the agenda. We are going to pull off 6B. The Little League presentation is going to be on our next agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Support. Support.
Okay. Motion and support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'm not aware of any conflicts of interest in this agenda, so our first item up then is the library report.
I love that you put this so close to the beginning of the agenda. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I also appreciate Randy making the Zoom link available, because if it had been a snowy night or if the COVID numbers had been continuing to go up instead of coming down as they are, I would have taken full advantage of that
Sure,
Zoom link. So
that's
thank you for
fine,
that.
too.
I attended the January 18th meeting of the library board, and probably the biggest thing is that there is a long-range planning committee. And I have volunteered to serve on that. Our first meeting is a week from tonight. So if any of you have anything that you would like brought to the attention of the library for long-range planning, let me know, let Tom Bronken know, and we will make sure that we share that with the library. Other than that, it was a pretty routine meeting of the library. They affirmed their contract with a company called Unique Collections for patrons who don't bring back books or otherwise are miscreants at the library. And they reaffirmed their contract with the law firm of Foster Swift in Lansing for a pretty favorable rate, I must say, as a recovering lawyer. I always wish people would use lawyers around here, but Foster Swift has millage knowledge and bonding knowledge that is not necessarily available in our local legal community. I don't know what Mr. Zappa would say about that, but I thought it was a good deal to enter into this renewal of contract with Foster Swift. They received a nice donation. They received 4 Lundmark paintings Lundmark was an artist from Chicago who came up here and really enjoyed painting the Black Rocks and Presque Isle, and so they got that donation. And other than that, it was a short and pretty routine meeting. And if you have any questions or comments for me, I'd be glad to answer them or entertain them.
Anything, Ernie?
Ernie?
What are they going to do with the paintings?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Well, two of the paintings were really nice. I coveted those paintings. They were great scenes of Presque Isle and the Black Rocks. Two of the paintings I don't think were done locally. They were of other places. And I think the library may sell those or put those up for bid. They're not like Antique Roadshow going, oh, that's a $50,000 painting. I think they were more like, that's a $800 or $1,000 painting, but they didn't really fit locally with local scenes. So that's what I think they were planning to do.
It doesn't fit into their decor at the library.
Yeah, at the local scenes, they want those, and they already have some Lundmark paintings. But the two that were not of paintings of this area, I don't think we're going to keep in the collection. Yeah. If
Anything
you're
else?
interested, contact the library.
Anything else for Paul? All right, thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you
Appreciate
next month, or
coming.
else Tom Bronken will be here next month. One of us will be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Oh, Paul, too, I've been trying to get your name on the website as the committee member, but I've been struggling with our website. So you're, just so if you look at it, we're not, shafting you. I just can't get it on there right now, so I'm trying to get it on there, so.
I'm
Tom's name's on-
junior to Tom Bronken,
Yeah.
so if his name's on there, that's good.
His name's on there, but I want to get yours too, so.
We're
if
glad to
people
have
are-
both of you, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, next up is Lake Superior Community Partnership presentation. Megan O'Connor has joined us tonight. She's the outreach coordinator for the partnership. And she also just received, or was one of 2 recipients of the Baldini Scholarship for interest in community civic engagement. You didn't know I was going to say that, did you?
I didn't.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
So Megan's going to tell us, if you know, of course, we've just started a membership with the partnership, Lakes Community Partnership, and we took the basic level, and she's going to tell us what that entails. So if we have other questions, we can do that at the end. She's got a little presentation.
Thank you for that introduction. Before I get into it, I just want to say thank you so much for your time tonight. I've never been to a local government meeting before, so I'm very excited to be experiencing this with you today. Okay, so to get right into membership with the LSCP, you actually get 3 memberships for the price of 1. And that's really attractive to a lot of local small businesses in our community, but it should be very attractive to you too, because not only do you get our value investment package, you also get a membership with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Federation Partnership Program, and SBAM, Small Business Association of Michigan. And what does that mean for you? Well, for our local small businesses, which you represent in the township, that means there's advocates for those businesses in Lansing and in Washington, D.C. That's awesome. And you also get to be a member of SBAM. Still need to hear back from the Chamber of Commerce, but all of those things that those local small businesses get, you qualify for most of them. And that's not something I like to touch on because we have a representative who talks to you directly about those benefits, but that's great. That's 3 memberships, again, for the price of 1 for what you're paying for. So some things that the LSCP does, just some overall assistance, we help with media assistance. So we can help create press releases for you. So if you have an event going on in the township or something really cool happened for you guys, such as you got some grant money or something that you really want to brag about, but you don't want to write that press release, I can write that for you for free as a part of your membership. And then I send that to media UP-wide, and that gets picked up very fast, and then they do stories about it, and you get a lot of publicity. I can help assist you with employment opportunities. Right now, we actually have you on for Job of the Week coming up, not this week, I believe the following week. But some assistance that we do for employment opportunities is we put you on our Job of the Week, our Working Here page, and our Keep Up Working web pages. Our Job of the Week highlights a job on social media, on LSCP social media, and then people share it, and we get a lot of engagement within the community for it. We put you on our Working Here page, which is on our website that only highlights our partners, which is you. And then we also put you on our Keep Up Working web page, just another web page we have on our website that highlights UP-wide jobs. We also assist with ribbon cuttings and groundbreaking ceremonies, and we provide all the supplies for that, such as the big ribbon and the scissors, and write the press release for that as well. Some networking opportunities include you are able to join LSCP committees. You are eligible to host virtual or in-person business after hours. You're eligible to host webinars on LSCP platforms, and then the LSCP helps with the webinar management, so the back end of things with the registration, the marketing, etc. These are just some pictures from our most recent business after hours that we had a blast at. Other marketing things that we do is we create e-blasts, which are very popular, especially in our community. So a lot of the people that receive the e-blasts are businesses and their employees. So it's really tailored to the county of Marquette. So that's 2,500 people that can receive an e-blast that you have access to send to. These can be emails about any kind of topics, they could be surveys, etc. You're eligible to participate into our Key to the County program. It's a partner-to-partner benefit program. That's an example of the key on the screen right there. Really great discounts on there, and there's more on our website for what discounts. Oh, and in your folders too, that you can get with the Key to the County card. You get an LSCP icon, access to mailing labels to all of our partners. So yeah, just some marketing things there. Some more marketing things, you get a business profile on our website. Below is an example of a really nice business profile. We only refer our partners at the LSCP. So if we have a business that someone's looking for something specifically, oh, where should I eat? We would say, oh, you would want to go to this business because they're a partner of ours and we know that they have really awesome quality food. We display marketing materials in our lobbies, and you're able to host workshops, lunch and learns, and we, again, assist with the back end of that. Some different discounts that we offer include discounts from Office Depot, Lake Superior Leadership Academy, NMU Fall Fest, different events, etc., etc., etc. So, your partner level investment. Your business profile is on the screen, and as an LSCP partner at the partner level, you get a business profile with one category, a website link, a brief business description, hours of operations, and driving directions. Right now, you have your category, which is government. You can't really see it too well. The address, phone number, website, and then a little brief business description. I did not put the driving directions or the hours of operation, but I can. Just let me know if you'd like those added. And then you also get access to one economic modeling specialist report. And that's what you get at the partner level investment. Some things that we have talked about previously, Lynn, John, and I, and Sarah, include some project-based assistance. So this is not specifically included in your partner level investment, but it is something that you can purchase extra. So some examples of that is we just recently finished the Negaunee Moving Forward magazine. That's what's on the screen there. And those magazines just went out to everyone in Negaunee pretty much. And then of course we've helped them with different events and business connections and things like that. We do grant writing, and then we're starting to work with Ishpeming on the Redevelopment Ready Community Certification, and we do different communications and events for them as well. So that is a really quick wrap up of what your partner level gets at the LSCP.
Okay, I've got some questions for you.
Yes, of course.
Under the light here. Let's go back to the first page. You were talking about the 3 memberships for the price of 1.
Yes, absolutely. And you do in your folder have that breakdown.
And I didn't look at that yet. I'm thinking it's kind of the same thing we got from you.
It is the exact same. Yep.
Okay. So how do we, you said there's a separate representative, do we need to make an appointment with them to set these up, to sign up, or?
Oh, nope. So I automatically sign you up. And you'll work with Sherry directly to get those benefits if you're looking at the SBAM benefit specifically. And Sherry's really great to work with. She's actually coming to the UP on May 18th. But yeah, she's a really quick response. And then I can also just email her too directly and say, hey, Lynn would like to know more about this benefit, and then connect you that way.
Well, if we're gonna do RFPs maybe this year for our liability insurance, that would kind of fall under the SBAM. How do we include, or how does that work? I mean, maybe this is beyond the scope of this meeting. Maybe we need to sit down and talk about these separately, but.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like I said, I can connect you with her directly, and she can explain that better than I can.
Okay, that's fine.
But I will write that down right now and make sure that happens.
Okay. So you were talking about the assistance with employment opportunities and ribbon cuttings and employment, other employment stuff.
Yeah.
How do we get notified of things that are happening, or do we need to go to your website like every day and see where do we have? I saw that we had a page. I got on and looked.
Great.
It's easy to click. It just says government, and you click on that, and then scroll down. Each of your partners has a box.
Mm-hmm.
It says Marquette Township. To click on that. If you click on the phone number, it automatically gets you ready to make a call.
Yeah.
It does have driving directions, sort of. I mean, it has the map.
Yes.
So it's already
Yes.
interactive. So for that, we can just give you whatever information we want, and you can populate it.
Of course.
Okay. I mean, we don't do it ourselves.
I mean, you can. You have that ability to, but I also don't mind doing it.
Okay, that's fine. And then it does link to the website, our
Mhm.
website. So if we want other links, I don't know what we would, but just in case, we can just give you those, type them up, and give it to you, and you can add them.
So actually, under your partner level, you only have access to your website. Under the next level is when you can incorporate social media
Okay.
links. That's just another
Okay.
benefit.
Yeah, that's fine. this is all new, so I want to
But
make sure we know.
loophole, if you link your social media links on your website, then it's all in one place.
Okay, so if we want to, because I wrote down, how do we find out about comments? So,
Comments.
yeah, because I'm looking at the overall assistance with media. If somebody does comment on a press release or on some kind of a
yeah.
e-blast, how do we know that?
Great, yeah. So typically, if like I were to send a press release about the township to ABC 10, for example, at the top and the bottom of the press release, I'll say, for more information, please contact Lynn. And then if they do email me and they didn't read the top or the bottom, I'll say, you need to contact Lynn, because I will not comment on that.
All right.
Yeah.
So we don't have, I just want to make sure we aren't supposed to be ready to look at all this stuff.
No. And those press releases come from me specifically, so I'm always the one to see the comments.
Okay.
Mhm.
The networking part, how do we find out about the committees and what might be available that we could participate in?
Yeah, great question. So the committees are on our website, the ones that we have. The LSCP right now is not having a ton of committee meetings, partially due to COVID. Our events are being postponed, et cetera, new leadership. So we do have committees, they're just not very active right now. And like I said, the description of each committee is on our website. So if you want to go through those and say, hey, I'm actually really interested in our marketing committee, I can get you connected with the committee head. Or in our office, it'd be Ashley, the director of marketing.
So that would qualify for any of us, right? If Dan had an interest in whatever he could be, or would it be just staff, or how does that work?
That's, I've never had that question. I would assume just staff.
Because we do have liaisons from the board in some committees.
Right. I can follow up with you on that question. I would assume just staff.
Okay.
But again, I'll ask.
In the presentation, you have a few asterisks after certain things. What does that mean? What does it link to?
The asterisk means that there is a fee.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's all I,
And the asterisks are also the same in the investment package that are in your folder on the right side.
okay. Okay, so you did kind of already talk about what we can put on there in the links. And I just wrote down, yeah, it does kind of, doesn't really give you driving directions, but it tells you where it is. It shows a little map.
And I can add that, but I will say
Nice to
it's
see
not
that already.
that, I don't think people really utilize that nowadays. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've given someone driving directions. It's just go to your Maps app.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool to see it on there already, so thanks.
Oh, of course, my pleasure, absolutely.
So that's all I had. Any other questions, Linda?
I have a question.
Yes.
I know that if you are a member, that you oftentimes get an email with the up-and-coming events.
Yes.
So do you take all of our emails here? Or do you email it to the manager and he emails it out to us? How do the,
Yeah, I can. Currently, we have Lynn and John on there for sure in our e-blast system. I can take everyone's email blast. A lot of businesses, what they do is they just have like one person, like the generic business email, and then they forward it to their employees, just so they're not boggled down with all these emails. But if you would like it directly, I can definitely send it to you.
so John and Lynn, one of you will be responsible for sending their emails out to all of us?
If you so desire.
However you
Okay,
wanna-
I mean, I think that's the whole connector of all of this.
For sure. And
Just
I
getting
would
to know
love
what's going
everyone's
on.
email, but I understand if you don't want to
Yeah.
give it to me.
Well, they'd all be township addresses anyway, because it'd be L. Durant at Marquette Township, E. Johnson at Marquette.
Oh,
Township.
perfect.
So it's
So
not,
maybe I'll just like
not
look them
private.
up and send you emails anyway.
so we know whether we should be sending them out. you know,
For sure.
Whatever you want to do. That was a good one.
So I have another question. I know that Lake Superior Community Partnership does an annual event,
Yes,
and that it's been, it would normally happen in February,
March.
March, but it's been postponed.
Correct.
So for those of you who might like to attend,
Yes, it is in your folder on the events date, the little half sheet here. We are planning for May 5th. That's postponed due to COVID.
Okay. Anything else, Linda?
no, but I can tell you that it is effective to let them do the press releases, and they do email blasts, and you get lots of information that way. So I think we have some things we can use.
Thank you.
Pete, did you have something?
Yeah, one thing that's been bothering me for over years is,
Turn your mic on.
over the past few years, several years, is that how is the ribbon cutting for new businesses handled?
So what the process is a business emails me and says, or I see them open and I connect with them, and we schedule a date for a ribbon cutting, typically a week or 2 weeks out. And then I email the Marquette County ambassadors, I email the media, the UP delegates, and different like representatives in the community, and I invite them via email.
What about the township board?
Right now, we have Lynn and John's
Right.
email on there. Again, that was, I believe we had someone else's email in the past, but now we have Lynn and John's email on there. I can add everybody on the board if they would like to be, if you would like to be.
No, I just want to know, because over the past years, we've never been included. It's always, and I just thought that was so wrong and a wrong approach, you know. So that's why I want to know how it's going to be handled here, so our manager and our supervisor would be included in that.
Of course, and I can include more people, and I really appreciate you bringing that to my attention. But again, too, if there is something that does pop up and you're like, don't like the way it's being handled, you can definitely email me, call me at any time, because we don't want you to feel like we're ignoring you or anything.
Okay. John?
I just wanted to add one thing to follow up on that, and that would be, we may want to get with you at some point just to make sure there's a clear understanding of where the corporate limits are. It's a little bit goofy down here on the east end of the corridor, and if we get that straightened out, it's gonna certainly help moving forward as the township sees additional growth, which I would assume we're going to see.
Yes,
Yeah,
I hope so.
So just something that I think will help both sides moving forward, now that we're a member especially, making sure that we do get represented at ribbon cuttings in our community.
Absolutely, yeah. And whenever you would like to sit down and talk about that, I'm totally open.
What we almost need to do is get you a map.
I would love a map. Highlight
Maps
it,
are good.
Sharpie marker it, all about it.
Okay, then you'll know who's ours and who isn't, who's the city's.
Yes, yes.
Or Negaunee Township. Usually the
Yes.
line is kind of like the railroad trestle up in Negaunee Township, that's more defined. It's kind of separates Negaunee Township from Marquette Township, but on this east end, it's a little tougher. Powell Township's not too bad, there's not so many businesses up there anyway. Is that good? Anything else? Great. Good
Great.
information.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
All right, next up's community linkage. I have just 3 or 4 things to share with you, real quick. You might remember, a couple years ago, we recommended to the, let me get it right here, Small Town America Civic Volunteer Award Program. We recommended Mike Springer, and he won, and there was a recent article in the January Michigan Township Association Focus magazine that talked about it. 2 years ago was the first one that they had done, and there were 700 applications. The top 100 of those applications were the ones that received, like we did, the website award, and the top 3 of that got actual cash awards to the township. So we were lucky enough to get the website out of it. We've used it a lot. We've added the clerk's income, agendas and minutes and everything. So that one little event just triggered a whole bunch of good things for us. And it didn't cost us anything. Plus Mike got the award. So now this is the 2nd year, and originally they had 5,000 communities that was the top that could apply. This year, because it was so popular the first year, they increased it to 25,000 communities. So there'll be a lot more entrants this year, I imagine. So we were kind of lucky to get in when we did, I think, because that would have been pretty hard to get, you know, when you're talking about 25,000 different municipalities. So I just wanted to share that. We did have a County Township Association meeting, which is all of the 19 townships in the county try to get together. We don't always get 19. Ernie and Peter on the board, so they were also at that meeting. We had a presentation, a DNR presentation, very informative, but extremely long. So we weren't able to conduct a whole lot, or they weren't too much business, but they are asking about the MTA conference, whoever wants to go. They need to know if they're gonna have to have a bus or a van or no vans or no buses or whatever. So if you're interested, let somebody know, let John know, or let Jim Nankervis know. They need to know right away because it's April 25th through the 28th. So if anybody's interested, they will also have, everything is recorded, so you can always go back later and listen to the breakout sessions, but they are gonna have some live breakout sessions too. So if you decide you don't wanna go, and it is in Traverse City? Or is it Lansing? Yeah, okay. If you don't wanna go, you can do it remotely, and the magazine does tell you which ones you can. And again, they'll be recorded after if you wanna follow up with that.
Lynn, I would say let John know ASAP because Lois would have to get you housing there. So that's, before you go,
Tough one.
yeah, housing is the,
Good point. There may be a spring banquet at Bay Cliff. We tried to do that last year, and because of COVID, it didn't work. And we tried to do it the year before, actually, that was recommended. So they're thinking about May this year, and it would be at Bay Cliff, and there's dinner and prizes and everything like that. So, but they'll let us know. The County Township Association is also putting the ad in for all of our Board of Review dates. So we did submit those, and that'll save
You
us
did do
some
that
money.
already?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did, we gave them to them. I don't know if anybody else did. Maybe it'll just be us. It's hard to say. But that'll save us some money if multiple communities put their dates and times for Board of Review, because we have to post it. So if we put it all in one ad, it's cheaper. Let's see. League of Women Voters also talked, and they're gonna be with us next meeting. They're gonna make a little presentation. I think that was about it. Anything else, guys?
No, not
We
yet.
elected the same officials. Pete?
What you missed there, the presentation on the parks, how many parks that we have, I think there should be brought up about 8 of them. The one that I'm trying to watch the screen and write at the same time, so I finally got the words, I think they mean something. Little Presque Isle on Wetmore's Landing, there's 316,109 vehicles with 1 million people that approach, go there. It's 3,545 acres, got 6 rustic cabins, 3 pumps, water pumps, and I think there was 6 toilets, I believe. So,
Yeah, we had.
it's kind of interesting,
It
but all
was.
the other parks were out of our area, but that was kind of interesting to me, and I think I got it all right, down there right, so.
Lots of details,
And hard
lots
to
of
write and
pictures.
watch the screen at the same time,
Yeah, it was very good.
but it was interesting, all the different parks and stuff like that that we have in our area. So, she did a good job in an hour, and Jim Iwaniki had 5 minutes.
I was just gonna say him too, I forgot about him. But we'll talk about that from the road commission committee side in a second.
Oh, I'm not gonna say nothing.
No, that's okay, but I didn't that's why I didn't really even mention him, but it was good. It was a pretty good little meeting. Approved at a special meeting that we had January 24th, so I'm just about finished updating that, and that will be distributed. So that was approved. Speaking of distribution, N95 masks are should be available in town. CVS, Meijer, Walgreens, Walmart should have them. And they're free. So I don't know how many you can get. I just saw the email today.
3.
Yesterday. 3?
3.
Okay. Because that is in our area, so hopefully they do have them. There was also one of the senators, well, he made some points, so I don't know if Randy wants to address this or not. They're talking about federalizing elections and removing the authority for how we conduct elections from the states and taking it to the federal level. So if there's some kind of a petition or something at some point, you might want to be aware of that. They want to eliminate voter ID, and they want to count ballots after Election Day. So I know there's 2 or 3 different versions of that and how that might come to play. So if you're asked, or if there, like I say, if there's a petition, make sure you know what's interesting, what's important to you, how you want to support that. I don't know if you want to talk about that, or.
Well, as of know, right now in the state, there's nothing, I mean, other than the state level, maybe tweaking different laws. Federalizing elections right now, I think, is kind of on the back burner for now.
Okay, I just heard.
Because I think they don't have enough support in the Senate without getting rid of the filibuster.
And I found 2 quick articles last week, or not articles, but the 90 years ago and 60 years ago, that I couldn't believe they were both in here, at least one of them, because it was so timely. The first one from 90 years ago, so I don't even know what year that would be. 20, maybe? 10, maybe about 1910. A request that Michigan aid in making US 41 a paved trunk line highway from Florida to the tip of the Upper Peninsula was laid before G.C. Dillman, State Highway Commissioner, today. A delegation from Marquette, Keweenaw, Baraga, and other northern counties urged Dillman to pave that portion of the route stretching to Copper Harbor. The spokesman, Norman Sterrett, mayor of Hancock, declared the improvement is needed as a tourist enticement. Federal trunk line now stretches from Florida to Copper Harbor with unpaved gaps in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Michigan. Dillman told the delegation the project is meritorious. He promised that he will be given It will be given thorough consideration and indicated that as soon as state highway finances will permit, additional hard service will be placed in the highway. So I thought that was kind of neat. That was, 90 years ago, they decided to do that whole corridor. And then 60 years ago, Michigan probably will be the first state to put into effect a mass immunization program to combat 4 dreaded childhood diseases, says Governor Swainson. President Kennedy recommended the program on a nationwide scale to protect children against polio, diphtheria, whooping cough, and tetanus. Production of a 4-in-1 antigen by the state health department is progressing on schedule, the governor said. It is scheduled for free distribution by December. How about that? I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, that's all I had to share. Anybody else? Are you hearing anything from the public or anything from the community? Okay, let's get into policies. 8A, consider authorization to negotiate a contract for DPW roof repairs. And Lenny's all on board and ready to talk.
I think, John, were you gonna speak
You
to
wanna
this one
start?
here first?
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll leave this out since we already
Okay.
discussed it at the special meeting last week or whenever that was. For those of you that are not aware, actually you are all aware, but the public may not be. 3 years ago in the winter, we had that real wet, deep, heavy snow that started off our year. That was the year we didn't get our bike paths cleaned all winter because we never got it off, and the John Deere tractor broke down, and then we decided to buy the loader, which is now allowing us to keep the bike paths open. That year, we noticed some deflections in some of the beams of the original fire hall, which is now part of the expanded DPW building. There was some significant distress in those beams, and we have to get it fixed just from a safety and liability perspective. We've had UP engineers on board for several months now, maybe even over a year. They did some evaluation of the structural reinforcements necessary, and Bromley Hall, who did the expansion, came in and looked at that original roof to figure out how they might be able to add this reinforcement. We had been heading down a road toward partial roof tear-off in order to get some of the beams in place. And we believe, based on what he's told us, he's done some value engineering with UPEA to bring the cost down significantly from our original estimate of $500,000, possibly down below $200,000 as far as the price tag goes. So what we would like to do is get authorization to negotiate a contract with Bromley Hall to do these structural repairs so that we can stabilize that original fire hall for the future.
Anything to add, Lenny?
No, just basically that, this is kind of an imperative thing that, we do need to get done. Right now, we do have a snow blower basically stationed up on the roof, and every time we get more than 6 inches of snow, we're up there shoveling the roof off. So any more than that, according to some other analysis that we have, could start kind of making the roof sink here a little bit again. So yeah, it's kind of a big thing that we need to get done as fast as possible. Sooner is better than later, especially with the way everything is looking with prices. The longer we wait, the more expensive it's going to get.
So if it does come in under 200 or right about there, 1,000, then you can split it between the two departments too.
Yep.
So it won't be too much of an impact, total
Right.
impact.
Yeah, so the sewer and water utilities would share the cost evenly.
John?
I'm pleased that our staff has been on top of this. We've had some time to look at it. We know that the work needs to be done, and it would be a real danger to wait too much longer. I think what they're asking for is simply to get things started so that we take the next step that needs to be taken, and the results of that research will get back to the board, and we'll be here looking at the budgeted amount. I would recommend authorization of the township manager and the superintendent of public works with the assistance of UPEA to negotiate a contract with Hall Construction, contracting for the DPW structural reinforcements. This is something that just needs to be done, and we can't wait much longer. Once the contract will be negotiated, this township board will see it again. So that's the motion.
I'll second.
Motion and support, Ernie?
Do we need to put in the cost factor not to exceed 250,000 in that motion?
Well, we're gonna see it again before anyway, so they're just they know their limits, I think.
Okay, well, that's fine.
As it says right here, not to exceed 250, and they're gonna bring it back to us under that anyway, so.
Okay.
I mean, we could put it in there, but it doesn't.
We certainly hope that we'll be able to accomplish it for that number. I guess it remains to be seen what we can negotiate with him, but based on what we've heard preliminarily, we're pretty confident it'll be under 250, if not under 200.
Any other comments?
So I just have a question.
Sure.
So what did the department pay for that building? Do we know?
I'd have to go back to the old budgets to
Okay.
find out.
I'm just curious because I'm just curious.
I wanna think it was like 750,000 maybe, somewhere in there, and that was split between both of the funds.
Yeah, so here we are having to, sad to say a roof for 250,000.
Well, we get to remember though, that building was probably, 30 years old when it was moved to the Public Works building.
Yeah.
Fire department didn't probably, it was built for them, and then we had to refurbish it basically, and, so,
So there was a fee
Fortunately,
for-
they inherited the problem.
yeah, they inherited the
Yeah.
problem.
So there was a fee for refurbishing, a fee to purchase. Yeah, just so people understand that, this is a 30-year-old building.
Yeah, it's not brand new.
And it was added onto when it was purchased. Yeah.
And, and really, I know the previous superintendent, Kirk Page, would have liked to had a new building, but really for that building, that was probably the best reuse we could use for that, because we couldn't do anything else with it, because it's at the top of a hill that's icy in the winter for the most part, and you just couldn't do much. It would have basically been a warehouse otherwise.
We talked quite a bit about who could we sell it to and what would the value be once it was a fire hall, but the biggest thing was we wanted to get the vehicles inside, and we had a way to do that, and have
Correct.
wash stations and stuff for the Public Works trucks.
Well, if you talk to that group, they're much happier now than before they had it.
Right.
The pump house was kind of cramped for everybody. It was kind of too small.
And that goes to show you that you can take big box buildings and make other buildings out of them.
Reuse them, yeah.
Yes,
That would be called repurposing.
yes,
Oh,
exactly.
What a great idea.
Maybe we should send that down to Lansing.
Uh-huh.
Maybe Best Buy could be repurposed.
John?
I just wanted to add that if this motion does pass, we do not intend to bring a contract back for your consideration without it passing legal muster. So we'll make sure that Attorney Zappa is on board before we bring it back as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next up, consider Arpa funding allocation. This is something we also talked about at our special meeting. So, you, John, again?
Sure, I can take that one. I did put it into the packet. We had discussed 5 different priorities at the last special meeting. The first one we just finished discussing. The current item on the agenda was one of the final 4, and you may recall that we had talked about considering using ARPA funds for the roof, but because of the method we're using, we don't know that we would necessarily meet federal requirements by negotiating with one contractor as opposed to bidding out, because we think the contractor we're working with has already valued it to the point where we should continue working with them. So the trade-off being, because Lenny has to find the 250,000, whatever it is in his budget, he also has this hydro excavator that he planned to purchase this year. So we can get bids for the hydro excavator and meet federal bidding requirements. So the recommendation was to take $100,000 of our $400,000 ARPA funds and apply it towards this hydro excavator. And the reason why we chose that particular purchase is because it also qualifies under the infrastructure category for lead service lines. You may recall that's why Lenny needs to purchase this hydro excavator, is to meet the requirements of Michigan's new lead copper rule. We have to expose 200-something of our service lines on either side of the curb stop, randomly selected by Microsoft Excel formula, and verify with our own eyes what material it is. Even though we know the majority of these lines were installed in times where only copper pipe was used, we have to confirm with our own eyes for the folks at the state that there is in fact no lead present. So call it an unfunded mandate or whatever else you want. It's in the name of public health and they can do it. So we don't have a choice. So we need to help Lenny pay for his roof by hopefully allocating ARPA funds towards this hydro excavator.
Randy?
I'll move to allocate up to $100,000 of the township ARPA funds toward the purchase of a trailer-mounted hydro excavator and authorize staff to procure bids from eligible manufacturers.
Or
Questions, comments? Anything to add, Lenny?
No, we're investigating some different manufacturers here. We have some that we've been kind of looking at and talking to people. We actually demoed one this summer that would meet our needs. It's going to be a good piece of equipment. It's going to save us a lot of time, and we will also be able to use it for lots of other things, other projects that we have. So it won't only be, it'll initially be used for this project, but it'll have a lot of other secondary uses that'll definitely serve us well in the future.
Okay, Dan?
Yeah, Lenny, is this something that can be, I guess, rented out or something to some of the smaller communities? I know your staff is gonna be the only ones that are authorized to use it, but is that something in the future that can be done to, recoup any of that money?
I mean, it is a possibility that we could do that, especially after we do all, we have approximately 220 lines to do, and we're thinking at best, we probably could get 3 a day. So it's going to take us a while to go through them, but in the future, yeah, that is a possibility that we could look at.
Well, and we did talk about the fact that we had rented these from other, Oberstar or somebody else, and you said, excuse me, you said something like, this is gonna pay for itself in like 2 uses or something. So the ROI is gonna be like right away, just not having to contract this out with some other manufacturing, workload company.
To hire a contractor to do the same work would exceed the cost of this purchase.
Oh, totally.
Correct.
Yeah, if you could find them, if you can find anybody to do the work for you.
That's true too.
Every community that has a public water supply needs to do the same thing. And we have to expose about the same number of service lines as the city of Detroit. Just based on the statistical modeling that was created by the University of Michigan or somebody far more intelligent than I.
Maybe.
Is there anybody
That's
else?
what I'm saying, maybe.
I didn't say anything about common sense.
Yes.
Ernie?
Now, is there training going along with this? In-house training, or do you have to go somewhere for training in that?
They will train us, I believe.
We actually, yeah, we actually had a representative demo it to us late summer, so we kind of went through it, learned how to use it there, and it, no matter what manufacturer it's going to be pretty standard how to use it. So everything will be kind of learning on the job and learning as we go.
Is it easy enough to maintain that we can do that too, or does it have to go somewhere to be tune-ups and stuff?
For a lot of the basic stuff, we'll be able to maintain it. Even we have a person on staff that's very good with the engines, the small engines. So a lot of them do have warranties on them, a few-year warranty on them. So we'll be under warranty for a couple of years. All the dealers are within 100, 150 miles. So that's pretty good too. They're close. But beyond that, we do have in-house staff that's pretty good at working on machinery.
Okay. What else? Anything else? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're gonna be busy tomorrow, spending all this money. All right.
Yes.
We have to come back to you with results
know.
first, remember?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lenny. Consider directing road committee to evaluate county road commission request for ARPA funding suggestions. This is a little bit different. The Ishpeming Township Supervisor is also the chair of the County Township Association. And he frequently has the director or the engineer, or whatever his title is, of the road commission come to the county township meetings. At one of the meetings that must have happened before me, or maybe they just met independently, they decided that it might be a good idea to form a subcommittee of a handful of townships to get together with Jim Iwaniki from the Road Commission and talk about what they can do with their ARPA money. So the Road Commission went to the county and said, you're getting all this money for ARPA, from ARPA, and we would like 3.7 million for our coffers to do stuff in the townships. So that's still being considered. 8 of us, and I asked Jim Nankervis, I said, how did you pick which townships were in this little subcommittee? And he said, well, I just kind of tried to get inside and outside. So Marquette Township falls into that group of 8. So we met last month, and one of the county commissioners was also there. So he gave his opinion about what should be done with the money, how it should be handled. And Jim Iwaniki said that frequently township officials will come to them and say, we'd like this mile of road paved next year, and this might be October. And he said, there's no way we can put you on the schedule and buy the materials and have the staff able to do this in like 6 months. And he said, in the past, we've asked townships, can you give us a 3 to 5 year list of what you think your road projects need to be? And he said, then if we have to do a cancellation or somebody backs out and somebody else wants to get in, we can do that with having to buy materials in bulk and everything like that. So one of the requests of this subcommittee was that we bring it back to our boards, and if we want to share the idea with any other townships, we're welcome to. But, first of all, I'm bringing it to you, of course. So I visited with Pete and John and said, maybe we need to ask our road committee to kind of look at this and do kind of a 3 to 5 year projection of what we think is necessary. Now, to back up a little bit, we know, we've been told by the manager frequently, that the millage, partly because of tribunal losses and partly because of sharing, not cost sharing, from the state. Revenue sharing, thank you. That we've lost money in our revenues to support the road millage that we have. So we've had to supplement it with general fund money, okay? So this would help us even more if we had maybe a few extra bucks to put toward a project, or it doesn't have to fall in line with the millage project, because that's separate. Iwaniki said that if they divided the money up equally, we'd each get, you know, $180,000 extra out of this 3.7 million. You have to remember that we're a bigger township, we have a millage. Someplace like maybe Wells, I don't have that list with me. Some of the smaller townships don't have millages. I was amazed to find out that 4 townships don't, and the rest of us do. That was pretty surprising. I thought we were one of the few who did, but quite a few have had to go to millages. In fact, 2 communities have 2 of them. So, we're still gonna keep talking in this subcommittee in the next few months to see how we feel that ARPA money could be spent. One of the the one county commissioner that was there suggested that maybe we take the money as a whole and put it into paving or equipment or a building or land or something where we could do some of these things ourselves as a county. And I thought of it afterward. I remembered when I came on the board in 2008 that the road commissioner of the county or somebody decided at the time that it was costing too much money for us to have all of our own equipment and employees and land and buildings to pave roads. So they were gonna get rid of everything, and they did. So they sold all the equipment because they said it was too expensive. So now this one commissioner feels that we should look at that again. So those are the 2 things that came out of that subcommittee meeting. So wherever that goes, if you have thoughts or whatever you want me to send to them on the 200,000 period, we can talk about that another time when we have more information. But for these purposes, my recommendation is that we ask the road committee to look at how we could spend roughly $200,000 if we did get it, or whatever other direction you want to give the road committee. Is that a pretty good synopsis, Pete?
Yeah, just for your information, years ago, they did have their own plant and stuff like that. They got rid of it, and some of the comments at the meeting the other night is that the road commission, a couple of comments were made that the liability in something like this is so great. So I would, suggest they don't do that and just let us take care of our own,
Well, and the commissioner was trying to see how the revenues would, or the income would benefit the whole township, or the whole county. So that makes sense, because it would help everybody. But if it's gonna be at a higher cost, that just doesn't make sense.
I think they should just, like you said, give each township X amount of money, because we have to use it the way we feel is better for us. We're subsidizing them now by fixing their roads. So, and we're not getting enough out of our millage to take care of a yearly project. So we could use that.
And maybe the road committee could come up with another option too for the money. If you have to look at the whole,
The biggest thing for the road committee is to fix our roads. And we've been doing that for years and years. That's what we really wanted to do, is take care of it. We went out, we had 18 meetings here, morning and afternoon, and explained to the people what it was. It passed about 70-some%. And I say, if we can get any more money to get our jobs done the way we said we're gonna do, according to the new plan, and let's do that what we said.
and it doesn't have to tie into the millage. It can be just,
Well, I know that, but we're not getting enough out of our
Right,
village to
but
take care of the project per year. Every year we've got so many to do.
right. But there might be something that we need to have done outside of the millage too. I don't know if that's the case, but I just mean we don't have to use it for that. Like, the millage is very project-specific. We have certain roads we have to work on. We can't pick and choose.
But we don't have the
This is
money to do
different.
that.
I know.
So if we can get extra money even to just do what we're supposed to do for that year, would be great.
Yep. Randy?
Okay, so I'll move to direct the road committee to come up with potential projects within the township within a 3 to 5 year span for use of ARPA funding and submit to the county road commission.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Any questions or anything, Ernie?
Just one comment, when talking about dollars, our bonds that we took out for our road committee do not generate enough funds at this point in time to do it, and we have to take about $60,000 out of the general fund to make up the dollar amount that we're short. So anything we can do to help out would be beneficial in that.
As we said that we'd fix roads, so now we have to find a way of getting it done and paying for it.
John?
I just want to add that, you know, we talked about those 5 priorities to consider for ARPA funding at the special meeting, 2 of which we addressed tonight. One of the remaining 3 is a $150,000 road improvement project. It is a local road, which is what the millage was intended for, and we were planning an overlay. My recommendation is that should be priority 1 on the list, but the road committee may disagree with me, that's fine. That's just my recommendation, and I wanted to put that back out there because we have already identified it as one of our priorities. And that's about the amount that they would have for our share if the county distributes ARPA funds to the road commission. So we don't even know if step 1 is gonna happen, and then step 2, if any of that money will make it our way, so.
And it still helps the road commission if they have a 3 or 5 year plan, whether it's ARPA or not, because I remember them asking that years ago in the other hall. Jim came up at the podium and said, would you please give us a 3 to 5 year list? And maybe we did it once and that was it, I don't remember. But they like them constantly, and if your plan changes in 2 years and you want to do something else, then you submit that. But that's what they need. They need to have something at least 3 years out, so that they can, you know, buy their equipment or buy whatever supplies they need and get it in bulk, so it helps them. So this is kind of a twofold recommendation. It's not just the ARPA funding.
But in this situation, we need to look at anything through 2026 because ARPA funds need to be expended by the end of that year.
There's another project right out in front here, Commerce Drive. You know, it's not wide enough. The people are walking. You know, it's dangerous just to watch if people walk there. And people are on bikes. A lot of people don't know you need 3 feet on the side of that bike when you're passing. So that's gonna push you over the center line and then it'll push the other car off.
Yeah, we have a lot of people walk here during the day and
But
even
it's
at
funny
night.
that we can give 3 feet to a bike, but for people, we don't have to give them 3 feet. But most people do, but this is, especially with the theater over there, with all the apartments down there, in the business sector on this side a little bit, so I'd like to see the county road committee do something with the street out here. Right now, I think there are 4 or 5 spots out there that should be fixed, cracks and stuff like that out there, so.
So we have not submitted a plan to the county road commission
Correct.
in multiple years.
No, not that I'm aware of.
So we need to get on the,
Yeah,
and then,
They would appreciate
and then we
that.
annually need to be doing it.
at least looking at it, yeah, the road committee can.
So we can put that on our calendar of this is due on this date to the.
Well, they want to know about the ARPA funding first, because if they can get the money from the county, and whether it's that exact amount or not, you know.
But they do really want to know about what we need every year, and you can always move your ARPA funding to what you need.
Well, they kind of know what we need because of our road millage. You know,
Yeah,
they-
but we have not given them anything in writing.
Right,
So we need to do that because
Right.
we all know what we need, but if you don't put it in writing,
forget it,
forget it.
because it's forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it needs to go in writing.
Okay, anything else? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So you had your meeting tonight, Pete, right, for roads, so it'll be next month?
Right.
Okay. All right, consider a joint meeting with the Marquette County Road Commission, and they would like to suggest April 5th or the 19th. It's a Tuesday night, and it would be at 4:30 prior to our board meetings. So personally, I'd rather go later, so that I know that I'm available if the 19th works for you guys. But not, majority rules.
19th is fine with me at 4:30.
What's the date, John?
It's a Tuesday. It's our second board meeting of that month. It's that night.
So there's also a rec committee meeting if they have it that night. That's at 5:30.
Yeah.
So, last time we did this, we were in the community room not long after we moved in here. And I think it was a 2-hour meeting, but that's because we hadn't met with them forever.
Well, if Pete or whoever the rec committee member has to leave, they can leave. It's not a big deal.
Does that work for everybody else, the 19th at 4:30?
Okay, I'll move to schedule, well, it'll be a joint meeting, but it'll be really a work session with the Marquette County Road Commission, April 19th at 4:30 PM.
Do you want to make it a special meeting?
What are we gonna move on?
I don't know.
That's why I said a work, I'd just rather have it a
Session's
work session, then we won't, anything we come out of that meeting, we could have at another meeting.
Okay.
Anything comes out of the work session, we have a board meeting that night anyway, we can
That's
then
right.
act on it too. so.
Well, I hate to do that on the agenda if
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
true.
on there. We could plan it that way, I guess, if we wanted to.
You can discuss it, and then at the first meeting in May, then you bring it up.
Lynn, did you talk to them about the date? Okay, because I know at the meeting they were talking about, they have problems with some meetings coming
Well,
up.
these are the dates that they, yeah, these are the dates they recommended. Because she asked me, today's Tuesday, she asked me yesterday, what's the date? And I said, I'll know tomorrow. So, April 19th at 4:30, work session, right?
Right.
Yeah, I need a second for that.
All right.
I'll second it, but my comment is, will we have our plans for what we want them to spend the money
No.
on by then?
That
So-
can be part of the discussion if we want. It's just,
So 2 months isn't enough time to get that done?
well, it might be. That's not the intent, is what I meant to say.
Okay,
Because
all right, that's
if you
not why we're
remember,
meeting.
this is one of the groups that we said we wanted to try to meet with every year or every couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the purpose of that. But if we have something, yeah, we can talk to them about it.
That would be a perfect opportunity.
Yes. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right. Email her right away. All right, consider a letter to Senator McBroom and Representative Cambenzi regarding Zoom participation. If you remember, last month, I think it was, we had a meeting and we were short a couple board members, which didn't affect the way that our votes went because we have 7 members, and to be short 2 was not critical. Both of them would have had medical excuses, and that got me to thinking about how the county and the state laws changed on Zoom participation after the first of the year. So I did check with the county to make sure that December 31st did stop Zoom participation for board members. And we have had occasions where if we had a quorum in the building and 2 or 3 or whatever on Zoom, we could do that. So we can't do any of that anymore. The only way we can do it is if you're excused for military going forward. So another township that I'm aware of also had 2, and it could have been 3 people who were also out. One was on vacation, one was medical. And if they had one more, they wouldn't have been able to conduct business.
Five.
Out of a 5-member, yeah. So I talked to Judy at Michigan Township Association for a lengthy conversation about all this. And she said that for a while, there was a whole bunch of hubbub, you know, close to the end of the year, that they were trying to get everybody to do something about the legislation and get it changed and whatever. And she said it hasn't happened much lately, that there's not been a lot of talk. There was a House bill, I think, she did give me the number, and I wrote it down somewhere, that it addresses this. So I told her that I was gonna bring it to you guys, and she said, well, you know, if the townships want this, they need to tell us this. So, I told her I was gonna put a letter together and show it to you guys and see what you thought. Roger has seen it, and medical, I think, is important, especially with COVID still being, you can still participate in a meeting and be home that way, and you can vote, you know, I mean, you can listen in. If you're on vacation, that's different. That makes sense. You're out of the country or whatever, but I really think that the state needs to look at allowing participation by board members for medical excuse to be able to vote at a meeting, you know, via Zoom. That's my, you know, my thoughts because of my recent people I've talked to.
I don't have a problem with the letter, I think it's well, but you have to also consider one thing, that with everything going on, medical and that, to call a special meeting, we have to have more than 4 members in attendance. You can't do it if you only have 4. You have to have that 5th and 6th one and that, otherwise, I just read this the other day and I couldn't believe it, but that's what it amounts to. That to have that, so you may want to research that too.
So on a 5-member board, they'd probably have to have 4
Yeah.
if they had to have a special
Well,
meeting.
they said they had 4 and that was an illegal meeting.
5 is 3.
They had to have that 5th one.
It's, yeah, it's not a quorum, it's because it's a special meeting.
And I'm calling a special meeting and that, so that's something else to think about, which I had not had any background on until I read it, and I had to read it 2 or 3 times to really understand what they're talking about. That too. So it is something that we have to worry about at this point in time.
Well, and for especially, you know, we meet twice a month, so it's not quite so bad if you have to call a meeting. But for a lot of these smaller communities that only meet once a month, they may have to call a special meeting, you know, for something. Could be anything.
And it's not just the board meetings, you know, our committee meetings too. We have the planning commission and we haven't met all of January.
Yeah.
Some people have been ill and some people have been not wanting to meet because of COVID. So it's more than just being ill, there's a lot of safety issues here. People have underlying chronic conditions and they should not be in meetings where people are not taking safety precautions. It's dangerous.
Well, we do, I mean, some communities don't, I'm sure.
Times are changing, you know, it's kind of like posting stuff in the local newspapers. Some places don't have local newspapers anymore. It's time to move.
Yep, they've been using the Mining Journal quite a bit because it's the biggest circulation now for a lot of these small communities.
And their circulation is poor, to say the least. So it's not,
7,000 now. So, yes, no?
I'll make the motion to authorize the supervisor to send a letter to Senator McBroom and Representative Campesi regarding remote participation in meetings.
Support.
Okay. Any more comments, suggestions, questions? Okay, I can look up that special meeting and maybe even add the planning commission.
I would say look it up because I read it someplace and it really shook me up when I read it.
I remember us having to do that a while back, and I kind of forgotten about it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, speaking of committees, like Linda said, we haven't had a planning commission meeting in January. They're expecting to meet February 8th. We had roads tonight, so Pete will give us an update on that next meeting. Public comment? Any public? Any comments, Steve? Good, bad, indifferent?
He's not moving.
Okay. I see him blinking. All right, announcements? Anything anybody wants to share? Randy?
Okay, it is official, the county clerk did email me last week. We will have a May 3rd school election. I think last time I did mention it was possibly, strongly possible, but it's official now. They've gotten their language and submitted it to the county. So it'll be on a sinking fund millage for the school. There'll be one item on the ballot. For us, it's too late to put anything on it if we so desire. We're past that point. So it's just going to be a one-item election, and it will not, we'll front the money for the election, but we'll get reimbursed. So it will not cost us anything to run that one. So, and I guess that's it. Speaking about federal election intervention, the last I heard, it was coming out of the House into the Senate. There was not majority support from either party, and the minority party threatened to filibuster if the party in charge was going to go forward with that, and that's where it kind of ended for now. So we'll see what comes on, but just my opinion, I think it's a state, it should be a state thing. The Fed should stay out of state elections.
Sounds good to me.
Any other announcements? Okay, managers report. Mr. Kangas.
I'd like to start by piggybacking on what Clerk Rattari just said about the May election. Our new assistant clerk will hopefully be on board by then and get thrown right into the fire in May. So anyone that's considering themselves as a candidate, they should be prepared to deal with that. Otherwise, in my written report, I am still working on the policies and procedures manual update. Hopefully we'll have that on the agenda next meeting. I will be passing that through quality review, and that, for those of you that don't know, our editing expert is Supervisor Durant. She's got the eye for that kind of thing, and I greatly appreciate it. There are a few little tweaks that we have to figure out how to accommodate in there that aren't currently in it, but hopefully we'll get that figured out. And if there's anything we feel we need legal review on, we'll get that accommodated at the same time. But the biggest change, you may all remember, is the year-round office hours are the same now. We don't have summer and winter hours anymore. So it's 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, with a half-hour lunch. And our lunches are staggered to ensure we maintain continuous operations, especially at the front counter. Arpa funding. Thanks again for all of your input at the special meeting, but I also wanted you to know we did get a bonus check from the smaller municipalities that declined their ARPA funding. Our share of that was about $800, which we've received. I'm not sure how big of a pizza party we could have, but I don't think it's eligible, so.
That doesn't mean we get another 800 next year, right? It's not
We
a
might.
matching?
I'm not sure. This could be just our share of tranche one. They're calling it tranche. That's, I don't know. It's a new word for me, but German? I'm a Finlander. What do I know?
Sounds like German.
From the Ghani.
For those of you that were not at the Oak Hills Estates public information meeting, I just wanted to stress there seems to be a little bit of misinformation or misunderstanding regarding my comments at that meeting. I believe one or more of those in attendance left the meeting with the impression that I was promoting this proposed public water supply expansion into the neighborhood. I thought we made it perfectly clear throughout the meeting that we were there neither in support of or against the project. We were there to inform them of the facts, period. By the time I left that meeting, my impression was this project is dead. Even the folks that requested it didn't seem like they were very much supportive of it anymore by the end of that meeting. So, wanted to clear the air on that. And again, I don't think you as a board had intended to do anything about it unless 51% of the land area within that special assessment district came to you with a petition in favor of the project. I don't see that happening. If anything, I see a petition of that magnitude or greater in opposition to it. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Oak Hills Estate Public Water Main project is dead.
So that
And,
updates.
and that's not, no skin off of my back. We received a request, we obtained the information, we shared it. The response from the neighborhood was a resounding no. End of story. We can move on to other business, and I'm more than happy to do that. We're plenty busy.
You spent a lot of time, you and Lenny, putting all that information together. I know they appreciate it. They thanked us, you.
Yeah, and, I don't want to take credit away from Lenny. He did most of the dirty work. I just did more speaking because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut.
Any questions for the manager? Ernie?
Just kind of follow up. I think that the feeling after everything that I got from the crowd and that, and a couple of people I talked to, it came down to the dollars, really what it amounted to, what it cost them.
Yeah.
There was no way out of it unless we can get a big grant. There's no way that they're gonna be able to do it. Now, when you're talking about $90,000, $45,000 to $90,000.
Well-
So.
And some of them said if it was free, they still didn't want it because they
Yeah.
had good wells or good
Yeah.
water.
Today.
That's the question too, is
Well,
today.
there are long-term factors as well, right? If you're on the public water supply, you have a monthly water bill that you don't currently have. So what does that cost over time? I think it really comes down to what are the pros and cons of either option for every property owner? And in most cases, the current pros outweigh the cons for private wells, period. Currently. We don't know what that'll be 5 or 10 years from now, but that's not our concern at the moment. We went through the process and it came to a conclusion, in my opinion.
Anything else for the manager? Any topics? Okay, thanks, John. Randy, you can review the motions for us, please?
Okay, tonight, the first motion was to approve the consent agenda as presented. The second motion was to approve the regular agenda as amended, removing 6B. Third motion was to approve the manager to negotiate a contract for the DPW roof repairs, and that was approved. Fourth motion was to approve the Arpa funding allocation for the hydro excavator, not to exceed $100,000, and that was approved. Fifth motion was to direct the road committee to evaluate the projects in the township and for a 3 to 5 year period and submit them for review, and that was approved. The sixth motion was to schedule a work session with the Marquette County Road Commission, April 19th at Tuesday, 4:30 PM. That was approved. And the seventh motion was to authorize the supervisor to send a letter to Senator McBroom and Representative Cambenzi regarding the Zoom participation, and that was approved.
Okay, thank you. Lots of business tonight. So far for the next agenda, then, we've got the Little League presentation that got moved to then. This will be February 15th is our next meeting, so we'll have the Little League and probably the League of Women Voters would like to make a presentation or at least answer questions too. Board member comment? Talk about? Is
I
that
just
thought?
have one question. I don't know who really to address it to. I'll address it to our manager. How can I find out, like, on the dead end of Woodridge, is there a road right-of-way that goes farther back that maybe would then connect over on the other side of Fair or that property in there? How is that figured out?
Give us a call tomorrow if you don't mind, or when you get a chance, we can take a look at the plats and
Okay.
figure that out.
The reason I'm asking is it's always been like a trail for people to go cross-country ski and walk and stuff. And now somebody put a private keep-out sign right there at the end of Woodridge. And it's never been like that before, so I'd like to know if that is the case, we'll make them take it down.
Yeah, I couldn't answer that off the top of my head, but we should be able to figure it out one way or another.
Okay, thank you.
What else? Any other comments?
I
Linda?
just have a comment. It's great to see people out walking, but please walk on the paved pathways, not on the road. It's dark, people are wearing dark clothing, and they're out, as my dad would say, they're walking on the wrong side of the road. So stay on the pathways, that's where it's safe, and we have them plowed, so please use them.
If you are in the road, walk facing traffic on the left. And be courteous to the drivers around you. Use your blinkers. Use your signals, please. Nobody uses them.
Just a sidebar to that, Lynn, I was coming up Washington Street the other day, coming west, and I saw the police car. There's a police car there on the side of the road, and lights were on. I didn't see a car there. There was an elderly gentleman in the road with his walker.
Oh,
So they stopped, they probably told him you can't be in the roadway, so you have to, so maybe I hope they gave him a ride where he was going, but I saw he was in the roadway and they stopped him.
gee.
So just don't be in the roadway if you have a walker or wheelchair or anything. It's
Is there a
not very
high-speed
good.
chase?
No high-speed chase.
Or walking, don't be in the roadway if there's a pathway.
And on Linda's comments, our pathways are cleared after every snow, and they're really decent to walk on. So they're not icy, as far as I know, and I do see a lot of folks walking. So take advantage of those if you are walking on the streets.
Anything else? Okay, we need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved?
Gotta read it. Read it first.
Okay,
You can still-
I'll read it for you, Dan.
thank you.
So trustee Everson moved to pursuant to MCL 15.268B for go into closed session for strategy negotiation sessions connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement if either negotiating party requests a closed hearing.
I couldn't have said it better.
And I'll support that.
Okay.
So we have to have a roll call vote. So trustee Everson,
Yes?
clerk Rattari is yes. Trustee LaRue,
Yes?
trustee Winslow,
Yes.
trustee Marks,
Yes.
treasurer Johnson,
Yes.
and supervisor Durant.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 7-0. We're in closed session at about
7:58.
7:58.
So we can go.
I'll have to